Welcome back to the final of the QubicaAMF Cup, and the Promotion Cup has turned up a few interesting results so far, but this one could be a fascinating game. Matt Miller, the left-hander who bowls right-handed, up against the right-hander who is bowling right-handed, Phil Hulst from the Netherlands, and Matt Miller, defending champion, not his Sunday best for the first delivery. Interesting story about how he's ended up bowling right-handed, Cass.
Yes, indeed. As you said, he is a natural left-handed writer, does everything with his left hand. When he was young and went to his first bowling centre, he saw everybody bowling right-handed, so he thought that was the only thing they had to do. So he started bowling right-handed, and it wasn't until a few years later that someone said, "Boy, what are you doing? You're left-handed." By which time it was too late. So he is a natural right-handed 10-pin bowler. Unfortunately, his first shot missed the head pin and left the 1-2-10, which is a split and could well be an open frame, which is really not what he wants to do. And you can see what he was trying to do, trying to chip that head pin across. Didn't make it, so he's opened up in frame number 1, which is really not the way to start. But if you're going to have an open frame, get it out the way, because his opponent, Phil Holst, who comes from the Netherlands, who won this singles tournament in 2010, has struck on his first ball.
Yes, Bruno's got 2 of his previous winners through to the final, which is always good. Some familiar faces on show. And he's had some very familiar faces involved over the years. Michael Hogan Jr. and Chris Barnes have all bowled in this. And that's much better. Clearly been watching Mike Quarry's line, his teammate, early on.
Yeah, made a slight adjustment there. The ball came off his hand a lot better. The distance made the pocket and carried all 10 pins. Yes, Simon, you were saying Mike Hogan Jr. from the PBA and Chris Barnes have both played in this tournament. They'd like to promote bowling wherever they can do, and accepted the invitation to come over.
Phil Holst still reaching the pocket with plenty of impetus. That's 2 very strong shots for a double.
Yeah, he represented the Netherlands in the 2010 AMF World Cup, so he has been a national champion. That event was bowled in Toulon in the south of France. Well, Matt Miller is starting further left than I've ever seen him staying left before. And on that left-hand lane, it hasn't done him a lot of good. He's got another split up. Looks like to me he's trying to cover too many boards and hold too much distance with the ball. It was the right-hand lane, unfortunately. So he's had an open frame on 2 visits to that right-hand lane, and it's falling further behind. And one would hope that Phil Holst has got himself together mentally to try and close this down. An early start. Doesn't want to make any errors. Doesn't want to give Miller a chance to get back. He's working on a double. And there you go, Simon. It's another...
It's turkey again.
Christmas turkey time.
Absolutely.
How about that? 3 great looking shots. Yeah, so it's a nice early lead. He's on a 300 game, dare I say that.
Why not?
I can't actually see that happening, not on this lane condition, which appears to be breaking down pretty quickly. Certainly hasn't done Matt Miller any favours, but he's back on the left lane.
And that angle that he's coming in from on the left lane is working for him. He's having problems with it on the right side, and most bowlers will tell you of lanes they aren't exactly the same. There are some subtle differences, and sometimes they can be magnified when you're 60 feet away from your target point. That can change things.
Yes, Simon, yes, you're quite right. We call them a pair of lanes, and they should be reasonably the same wherever you throw the ball. Unfortunately, atmospherics and other equations come into it. They're not always identical, so you have to make an adjustment. You have to read the lane condition.
Ooh.
You have to find out what the bowling ball is doing, or how it's reacting as it comes off the oil, and make adjustments accordingly.
Not the first time he's left that pin. That's a slightly frustrating shot to see everything go around the 4.
Yes, the 300 game's gone, but he has got 3 strikes in a row. This should be a pretty straightforward spare.
Coach stood in the background watching on, has videoed quite a few of his deliveries.
Well, yes. Just turned back slightly left. Fortunately, the ball was hard and it wasn't going to hook, so it managed to hold the line.
He does look a wee bit suspect on the spares to the 7 side of the deck.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he thinks it's too easy. Which can lead you into all sorts of trouble. If you think a single pin is easy, they're certainly not. You have to concentrate all the time. Matt Miller looking for 2 in a row now.
Total change in delivery there. You would have seen him come to virtually the middle of the lane and then throw it hard and fast, almost like a spare ball trying to get into that 1-2 pocket, and that hasn't worked either. So where does Matt Miller go from here, Cass?
He's in frame 5. He's got 2 open frames and he hasn't got a line to the pocket. He's only got 1 game to try and win this singles event, and at the moment he is struggling. He's going to have to string 4 or 5 strikes together to hopefully get back into this one if he's going to have any chance. But Phil Hulst, well, he's got other ideas. There goes the thumb insert. Spare ball to strike ball. Gets it locked in. Moulded precisely to the shape of his thumb. Looking to get back on track. Got to keep the coach happy. Perfect. Great looking shot. Left hand side of the lane, left hand side of the approach. Stretch that ball out to the right, almost coast to coast. Hit the 1-3 pocket and carried all 10 pins.
That was convincing.
Well, this is the man that's got to do something now. He's behind.
Needs a strike run, really. Combinations of strikes, the only way back in. Oh, no.
Okay, look at that. Moved back way left on the approach for that deep inside line on that left-hand lane. Made the pocket, almost left the 7-10 standing, just for a fraction of a second. Just has the 1 standing, but again, it's not a strike. It can only be a spare. Spare shooting's not for me at the moment, I'm afraid. It's just not good enough. And he'll be frustrated.
And Holst knows that he can keep his nose in front here just by making sure he makes the spares.
Yeah, just a matter of staying clean. And he's working on a strike, so if he does happen to shoot another double, he'll extend and he'll be pacing 279 past the halfway stage. Just watch the line he's playing. He's way left with his feet, way left with the ball, and it just rips the rack. And some body language shows us that he's well in charge. The coach looks quite happy there. Farida at the back. You have to tell him too much. He's pretty much locked on this lane. And the man that's struggling is young Matt Miller. He's got the pro shop out at Heathrow Airport. So it's just come off the hand rung, didn't it? There was no back end there. The ball was in the right position. Would have thought it was going to hook up. I think it just came off the hand wrong. Got on top of it. Lost it at the bottom of the swing.
It's just desperation stakes from Matt on the right-hand lane.
Well, yeah, it's really caused him a problem. He's got a single 2-pin here. He's got a spare, hard and straight. And he's decided to hook it.
Oh, Matt.
Well, I mean, you can hook at a single pin in the middle of the deck, but you've got to have the speed on it. He didn't. He had the rotation, didn't have the speed, and of course it just hooked, came off the end of the oil pattern, hit the dry part of the lane and turned left. So it's a 9 miss, and that is the 3rd open frame that Matt Miller has had, unfortunately, on that particular lane. He'll be having nightmares when he wakes up tomorrow morning thinking what's gone on.
A little bit of a similar problem for Phil there.
Yeah, just lost his line a little bit, but he can afford spares now. So Matt Miller's score opens in 1, 3 and 7. And not a double in sight to help him recover. Good enough. Keep it on the lane, keep it in play, keep it straight at those single pins. Matt Miller's 101 in the 7th frame on an open. So his max score can be 191, which I think Phil Holst is playing that he's going to sail through that score and not even look back.
Has to be strikes for Miller, and there we go. Well, is that the start of something?
Well, it needs to be. As I say, you can only go to 191 if he strikes all the way. And I've got a feeling that's not going to be enough. But he's going to have to sort something out in this lane, because he'll be coming back later in the tournament. We'll be playing some doubles. Now, Phil just has to keep his head together. He's got the line to the lane. He can use the whole width of the lane. Just keep the ball in play, avoid the splits, and make the odd lucky strike.
Yes, Matt Miller won't like seeing that one. 67 pins down at the moment, Miller.
Yes, Phil can go 258 if he can strike off. And that would be game, set and match. Although Miller just looking for a bit of pride here, I think.
Now, this is the problem lane for Matt. We've seen him bowl 2 very hard straight balls. He's gone back to his previous style, and wouldn't you know it?
2 strikes in a row for Matt Miller. Very frustrated for him that one plane is he's finding one lane is playing so differently to the other, and you can tell that by the positioning he lines himself up on that left lane and the right lane. It's foundation frame time, frame number 9. A bit of overreaction there in the back end for Phil Hulst now. I think that speed was just a little bit down, but he's fortunate. He's crossed the head pin left-hand side. He's just left a single pin standing, which is as good as a pocket shot that leaves a 10-pin standing, isn't it? So a spare will be good. It will take him through the 200 barrier. And the rest will be history for Matt Miller, I'm afraid.
Phil Holst well on his way to claiming this title for a 2nd time.
Yes, I mean, that's great for him, great for his coach, great for Charlie, who will be very pleased, and he will know, Phil will know what I mean by that. Matt Miller to come up in the foundation frame. Two strikes in a row, how about that?
Too little too late, I'm afraid, for Matt, and he knows it.
Yeah, just goes through the motions, doesn't look over-impressed. Phil, one frame to Phil.
Little joke between the 2 players. I think Phil just saying, hey, come on, that's the way it goes sometimes, mate.
I think he said, I'm not going to play on this pair of legs next time, I'm going to go further down the house. Yes, Phil's finishing in style. 10 in the 10th frame.
Yeah, let's take nothing away from Phil Holst. He's bowled superbly.
Yeah, pretty good game. Turkey to start with. All close frames. Oh, Matt Miller, another one. 3 strikes in a row for him. So he's kind of getting lined up, although that last one was a bit fortunate. They can share a joke. 2 young men that play the European circuit. Bright futures ahead of them, should they choose to pick a particular route of international tournaments. Phil finishes up with a 8. There's a 4-6 standing. That will be an open frame, but it won't matter to him.
Well, that just about says it all for Matt. Leaves the 7. Phil straight on his next delivery, going for a big takeout, but doesn't need it. It's not a problem. Matt Miller sub 200. He'll be very disappointed with that. But this man, Phil Holst, takes it home yet again. Good performance by him across the last couple of rounds. 226 is good enough to beat Matt Miller. Holst is the bowling promotion singles champion again.